All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is April 17th, 2025. This is the end of the week. Tomorrow we're off, Friday. This is Thursday, April 17th. Got Easter this Sunday, Good Friday tomorrow. Going to go ahead and start the market wrap up a little bit early, about 29 minutes early, anyways. All right, so my name is John Kerrigan. I'm the lead instructor at BYOB All right, let's go take a look at some charts today. We're going to do the trading day in review. All right, aka market wrap up. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at SPY on the 10-minute chart. Currently, I'm not going to say closing, but currently 10-minute downtrend coming into the close so far. It could change at the last minute. All right, 2 hour, got a 2 hour downtrend coming into the close. Could change at the last minute. I doubt it. 2 hours probably pretty much going to stay where it is. Got an inside day on the daily chart. Okay, it's a higher low, lower high closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, bouncing off of the uptrend line right here, still underneath, still in a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. If we put the quad lines on this, you can see we're down here in neutral land, not in the lower third, but in neutral land. So SPY on the daily chart still neutral, but in a downtrend. On the 2-day, that's a downtrend. 3-day, also a downtrend. Weekly, still in a downtrend. Still weekly, still in a downtrend. Monthly is still in an uptrend. They have to take out this low in order to negate the uptrend. So we'll see what happens. So there's SPY on the monthly chart. Let's take a look at the game plan for today. All right, we'll open it up on the 5-minute. All right, so price action. You can see right here, underneath this was a 10-minute downtrend underneath, was playable. We came down, touched this area, and then bounced. Came back to the pivot. Just no trade all day today on the 10-minute chart. If we look at the 10-minute, let me blow it up here. Okay, 10-minute, you came up. Price, the 3 EMA came up over the 8, all right? Provided a brief 10-minute uptrend there, then a start of a 10-minute downtrend there, then a start of a 10-minute uptrend there, and then a little bit of continuation up to the pivot, and then closed it out, and then opened it back up, and then closed it out. So, I mean, this thing crossed 3 times before noon, and I said it's going to be a chop day. And it's going to be a chop day, and it was. All right, so what did we like? We liked 8 DTE or 15 DTE Friday options, all right? So either next Friday or the Friday after. We like Friday options because they have more open interest. More open interest equals higher liquidity. Higher liquidity means a tighter bid-ask spread and less slippage, all right? What do we like? $5 to $10 out of the money because they're cheaper. They don't offer the performance that an in-the-money option would offer, but they still offer a less risk, all right, when you're out of the money. And they're cheaper, and they're easier to start when you got to starting a new account. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Had a little 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Didn't last but for no more than 2 or 3 candles after breaking the rubber band candle. All right, so same here. 2 or 3 candles after breaking the rubber band candle. 10-minute downtrend under VWAP only lasted 1 candle, and then that was it. So just nothing but chop and slop all day long. All right, on the SPY for the game plan. SPY pivot was 530.10. We came up to 530.10 is right. Let me just point out 530.10. This is 530.27. You can see it was right up here. Nothing but attached candles to 530.10. All right, so we hit resistance and we bounced away. And we hit it and we bounced away. So there's a double top there on the resistance. We'll see what happens. Maybe we come back there. We didn't seem to leave the area, which tends to make me believe we're kind of bullish a little bit. All right, we did move up and hold this higher ground up here, instead of bouncing all the way back down here to the lows. So we'll see what happens. All right. So was a bearish, a bullish gap at the open, and the bears filled the gap very easily. All right. Still got from yesterday, day before, still got a bearish gap that has not been filled. Not making any higher highs yet. All right. So nothing really is bullish, other than the fact that we moved up off of the 520 area and consolidated up here. Okay, that's all that's bullish. Still not making any higher highs. Again, okay, that's not very good. Got to make some higher highs. Still not getting it done. All right, so there's SPY. So kind of leaning bearish still. All right, so there's SPY. Let's take a look at QQQ. All right, you can see QQQ, this is the 17th, never triggered on the southern side, price underneath 441.80. You can see we came down here, 441.80, touched the line, never got through it with a candle. All right, SPY pivot, QQQ pivot, 447.80. You can see we got up to it twice and couldn't get over it. All right, so you just chopped around in this little mini bull flag inside of a giant bear flag right there. Bullish was bullish, green erases red over 451.30. Never even came into play, being since we didn't even breach the pivot. All right, for options, had we traded this, we would have liked the same thing that we like for SPY. 8 days till expiration, 15 days till expiration. Both of those are Friday option expirations. Fridays have more liquidity due to the weeklies expiring on Friday. All right, so we like that. We like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All right, didn't get either one. Nothing but slop, chop, and crap all day. Okay, just crappy all day. Yesterday was a great day. All right, nice drop right there. We traded that. That was good. Today, nothing but slop and chop right there on QQQ. Let's look at it on the daily chart. All right, look over here on the scratch. And you can see price action. We got an inside day. It's a lower high, higher low. Closing under a bearish trap. All right. Notice the 3 underneath the 8 EMA. Not much, but just enough to call it a bearish trap. Underneath the falling 17, that's the red dots. Underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's the pink line. All right. And you can see down here in the lower third, so that's bearish. All right. In a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. All right, so lower highs, lower lows. Another inside day right there. Inside day. All right, so there's QQQ. Let's take a look at FNGA. Another inside day, okay. Higher low, lower high, closing under bearish trap. See the 3 underneath the 8, okay. Underneath the falling 17, that's the red dots. Notice they fall from here all the way down to here. All right, underneath. All-time high anchored VWAP, that's the pink line. Okay, down here in quadrant 1, that's bearish. Okay, price action moves up, you give it up, that's neutral. You move up, you give it up, and more, that's bearish. Okay, so in the lower third, that's bearish, FNGA. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM got a higher low and a higher high, closing. Looks like over bearish trap, but under the falling 17. Under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the uptrend line, down here in quadrant 1, still bearish, still in a downtrend, lower high, lower low, just not moving down. All right, it's in a downtrend, but it's not moving down. It's just been moving. It's just been actually drifting and melting up ever since. As IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, Diamond Dow a little bit different than the others. Lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap, under the falling 17. That's the red dots. Okay, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Down here in the lower third, that's bearish. Okay, you go up, you give it up, that's neutral. But if you go up and you give it up and more, that's bearish. So there's Diamond Dow on the daily chart. All right, let's take a look at our technicals. T21.22. We did nothing but micro higher lows and higher highs right through here, winding up back here, knocking on the door to the buy zone where the bears gave us the middle finger yesterday. All right, so we'll see if we can break into that. All right, so there's T21.22. T2123, all right, is a comatose flatline. Patient is having a cardiac arrest. All right, we are drifting through the falling 200 SMA. Okay, we are in a bear flag. All right, we have a little mini bull flag if you count this. All right, from this low up to this high, bull flagging over. All right, but from this point, it's a move down and over to the right. So price action finally on top of the 200 SMA. I can't really call it on top of. It's kind of just falling so fast that we just passed through it. You know, like two ships passing in the night. You know, just there's T2123. Again, we're not making any higher highs. We're not filling any bearish gaps. There's nothing bullish to be said about this other than two things. We're on the other side of the falling 200, and we have a little mini bull flag inside of bear flag. That's it. Other than that, there's not much to say. All right, no higher highs, no bearish gaps getting filled, just melting over to the right. T2123. 3-bar chart's going to say the same thing. Only thing different is the falling 200, no longer fading, now it's falling. Falling 200 is way up here. All right, so a lot of distance between price action and the falling 200. Again, another bear flag, and again, 3 more red candle bar days that didn't go anywhere. Okay, look like they're flat line right there. T2123, another bear flag. Let's take a look at FNGA. Price action, 15-minute chart. This is today's the 17th. You can see selling from the beginning of the day almost to the end of the day with a 3 martini breakfast followed by a 3 martini lunch. All right, so nothing really happening here other than selling from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. No higher highs. Okay, you got a bullish gap that got filled by the bears. And we're back underneath the 200 SMA. So nothing really good happening there. Again, we still got this open gap from, I don't know, today's the 17th. This is the 10th. This 7 days ago. Still got an open gap from 7 days ago that still has not been filled. It's a bearish gap. Again, not making any higher highs, not filling any bearish gaps. Does not look good for the market. Maybe you get some mini higher lows, but how long can you continue with that without making a higher high? All right, just saying, it doesn't look good for the bulls. Still underneath the 200, the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Let's take a look at some technicals. First technical we'll look at, not technicals, some sectors. Take a look at XLE. XLE didn't have a different day than the market yesterday, and it's having a different day than the market today. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bearish trap under the falling 17, still in the lower third, so it's bearish. Had they closed up here, okay, they could have been neutral, but they closed in the lower third, so they're still bearish right there. Underneath downtrend line 1, downtrend line 2, and the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, XLE. All right, still bearish. Again, making lower highs and lower lows. Actually, that's a higher high. So actually just making lower lows. Here's a low, there's a low, there's a low. All right, we made lower lows. So in order to negate that, I'm going to have to take out this high up here. Okay, it's not happening, not for a while. It's got a long way to go. All right, from 81 up to 95. I don't think it's going to happen, not in one leap and bound. We'll see what happens, though. It's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. And USO, higher low, higher high. Closing over a bullish cross, over the falling 17, and under the 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right here. That's the post-COVID high. Not in the lower third, so that's neutral. All right, so just neutral. Again, you move up, you give it up, that's neutral. You move down, you give it up, that's neutral. All right, not in the lower third, so just neutral right there. All right, so there's USO. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG got a higher low, higher high, closing under a bearish trap. Under, see the red dots, the falling 17. Under, see the gold line, the uptrend line. Over the 12-month high anchored VWAP, that's a pink line. Okay, price action is in quadrant 2, but not in the lower third, so it's just neutral right here. You go up, you give it up, that's neutral. Look at the head and shoulders, and the right arm extends down to where the left arm left off. Right there, that's UNG. Let's take a look at GLD. All right, GLD makes a lower high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the rising 17, over these three prior all-time high anchored VWAPs. Okay, we really don't need these anymore. Take them off. All right, so take this off too. It's getting parabolic. And we'll just leave that one on there, and can take that off too. Too much stuff. All right, okay, up here in quadrant 4, remember yesterday made a new all-time high. Okay, price action today is bullish. Higher lows, higher highs, uptrend. Closing at the top of quadrant 4, definitely bullish. All right, let's take a look at silver. And silver puts in a lower high and a lower low, closing inside bullish trap over the hooking 17, over the, this is a 6-month high, as well as a 12-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, over that 6-month high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. If they can, I'm just going to give it to them. They're in the upper third, so that's bullish up there. Finally, they got to hold this area for like 5 days. All right, and then that would be nice. Then we could look for another breakout. But in the upper third, so they're bullish up there. That's silver. Let's take a look at SMH. SMH got a inside day under the trap, under the 17. That's a bearish trap, under a bearish trap, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the falling 17. In quadrant 1, that's bearish. That's SMH, XLK. XLK inside day, under the trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the uptrend line, under the midpoint, in the lower third, that's bearish. All right, let's take a look at XLF. XLF, inside day, closing under the trap, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, under the 17 EMA, see the red dots. Closing over the midpoint, that makes it neutral. Okay, you move up, you give it up, it's neutral. Same thing, you move down, you give it up, that's neutral. So XLF, just neutral. Let's take a look at IYT. Transports, higher low, higher high, closing over bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Price action in the lower third, so that makes it bearish and in a downtrend. Lower highs and lower lows, that's a downtrend. So there's IYT. All right, traders, that's it for me for today. Okay, just some choppy trades. Nothing really to trade. Okay, put on some puts, put on some calls. Got burned both ways. All right. So closed out my call hedge. Probably going to put it on before close. Back on for the weekend. Had some gold, had a gold hedge, closed that out and made a little money there. Had a put hedge, put that on, closed that out for a little bit of money there. And I had some Abbott calls, all right, that I made $1,000 on for a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, so what did I trade? I traded, let's take a look at the 10-minute charts. And 10-minute charts, take a look at Abbott. Okay, so I traded Abbott, this 10-minute uptrend, up to about 532, right up there, and then closed it out. And I sold into the rally right there. So there's Abbott on the 10-minute. All right, I think Abbott probably goes back up and challenges that breakdown candle high up there at 134. All right, so there's Abbott on the 10-minute. Traded that 10-minute uptrend. Gold. Tried to trade the gold uptrend, petered out. I still have it, so maybe it's recovering. Let's see, gold still down. All right, I bought it for 71 cents a share. It's currently at, I'll just call it 62 cents a share. So it hasn't repaired itself since I bought it. All right, so there's gold 10-minute. Traded the 10-minute uptrend that got stopped out right there. Really shouldn't have been a stop because it hasn't broken a rubber band candle on the southern side of VWAP. All in all, I'm still in gold. I have 2 long, all right, that are short time frame, 8 days till expiration. 1 long, 246 days till expiration, right there. All right, so that's it. That's gold. So those are the 2 I traded, along with SPY. Again, that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP made a little bit of money, but not much. Got some questions right here. Got another $50 on the SPY put. Way to go, Mel. T2123, 15-minute. Never seen that flat line so long. Totally agree, Rickster. It's like a cardiac arrest. Like, come on. That's crazy, isn't it? Crazy, crazy. Lorene, thank you, John. Have a very happy Easter. And by the way, traders, I am starting a new 27K account on Monday. If you want to join me, hope you do. All right, so we'll see that. Alan, thank you. Have a great weekend. Same to you, Alan. Thank you. Peter says happy Easter, John, and everyone. Thank you, Peter. Same to you. Jim S. says thanks, John. Wishing everybody a fantastic Easter and holiday weekend. Back at you, Jim. Thank you so much. BY27K, because 25K is kind of like the threshold for pattern day trader. Then you have to inject more money if you get below 25K. So I'm just going to start with 27. All right, because I don't want to get below 25. All right, but it's imperative that I start the first trade off like spot on. All right, happy Easter to you, Aman. Thank you, and everyone. Fred, happy Easter. Mel, happy Easter. B, makes sense. Yep. I'll be late in the room on Monday due to travel. Safe travels, Jim. All right. It won't be much. It will be my very first trade, Jim, for my 27K account. So I will be incredibly picky about it. All right. Because I won't have much risk to trade in it. Okay. Now notice when I make money, I have excess. And my trading plan allows me to trade my excess. So this is the goal, 1% per day. All right. Now, if I make an excess, I can trade my excess in addition to my 1%. All right. If I'm just on schedule, I can trade 2%. All right. If I'm in excess of my schedule, I can trade 1% plus my excess. All right, don't want to get nuts with it. All right, so you can see my excess grew from trading capital. If I traded 2%, it would have been 545, and notice it grabbed up to 3,900 quickly. All right, so it's very important that I nail the first trade and that it's a winner. All right, so I'll be really picky on Monday about what I trade. I will definitely need to see a 10-minute uptrend breaking out of consolidation. So safe travels, Jim. We'll see you on Monday. Yes, we get a nice, long weekend. Love it. All right, we'll go back to SPY and see what's shaking. Gold kind of creeping up here. A little change in Momo right there. Let's take a look at SPY. Still melting into the uptrend line right there. Still melting, 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 melting. And that's it. All right. I'm going to see everybody. Hey, thanks, Brent. You too. Great weekend. Long weekend. Enjoy it. So I got a 10-minute downtrend coming into the weekend, and a 2-hour downtrend and a daily downtrend. So nothing, like I said, nothing's really working for the bulls right now. Okay, you can see, 7 days we still haven't filled this bearish gap. Okay, we got over the 200, a big whoop, but we still haven't filled the bearish gap right here. All right, not making any higher highs, not looking good. And we're underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP yet again. All right, so I'm not seeing any bullish action yet. All right, just moving to the right. All right, we move to the right for too long and people give up hope and they're looking for something different that's moving. So, I want to thank everybody. I'm going to sign off of the recording. I want to thank everybody out there in digital land and podcast land. Thank you for subscribing. Let me remind you, Monday, my friend Doug is having a open house. Let me see if I can find it. Doug, open house. Let's see here somewhere. I have it. Pretty pig. Doug, you know what? I know right where it is. And there it is. All right, so Doug Campbell, all right, he's having an open house on Monday. Oh, wait, I got another one. Got an even better one. All right. Here it comes. All right, so get this. You take your smartphone, you scan that little brick right there, that little block, all right? And that will take you to the registration link right there. Take your smartphone, and then you can sign up, and they'll send your credentials to get into the room on Monday right there. If not, I will provide the link in the description right there. So scan that block with your smartphone, and you can register for the open house. Starts at 9:30, runs till 4. It's on Monday, April 21st, right after Easter Sunday. All right. All right, traders, that's it. Happy weekend to everybody. It's 4 o'clock, closing time. All right, we'll see y'all on Monday.